interview with Agnes Geneva Chase Blackwell, who resides at 45089 Blackwell Court in Piney Point, Maryland. The interviewee is Joyce Blackwell of Valley Lee, Maryland. Mrs. Blackwell, what were times like when you were a child?
Well, we had bad times, hard times, but it was a lot of fun, and we survived what we had.
How did you and your family live?
Well, we lived on a little farm, and we always had farm vegetables in the summer, and we canned a lot in the winter, and that helped us survive during the winter months.
Do you think times are better or worse than they are now, and why?
Yes, it's better now, because we don't have to labor as hard as we used to, and we make more money, and it seems to be much better than it were then.
What is your earliest memory?
Oh, I guess when I was about 6, because we went to elementary school across the field from where we lived. We didn't have far to go to school, and we enjoyed, running to school every morning. We were ready to go to school, and it made it really nice. We didn't have buses or anything to travel on.
Can you describe your relationship with your siblings and name your brothers and sisters for us?
My oldest sister, his name is Alice. She stayed with us until she graduated from elementary school. Then she left because there was no high school here. She had to go to Baltimore to go to school to get a proper education to be a teacher. At that time, they didn't need high school, college diploma to teach. They taught up high school diplomas. And after she did that, she got married and came back home. And from that time on, she stayed with us until she left to go to work in Washington.
What about your other brothers and sisters?
Lorraine also left. She was the next of the oldest. And she also left and went to Baltimore. But she got married, had 2 children. And finally she came back with 2 children. And Bernard was the 3rd one. He went to elementary school across the field like we did. And when he graduated from elementary school, he went to St. Peter Clavers to high school. They had a high school there, and he went there to high school. And he learned to do cement finishing. And he lived in Washington the rest of his life. And finally, after he got older, he came back home also.
And who was after Bernard?
Oh, then Irvin. Irvin was the next brother. He also graduated from elementary school, but he went into Army, and he stayed in the Army, 4 years, 5 years, whatever they had to stay. When he came back, he worked at the Texas Naval was built then, and he worked on the base all his later years as a boiler. The boiler is a person that kept the fires going day and night, so he worked in the day. And when he stopped work on the base, he left and went to Washington. And when he left and went there, he worked there on the railroad. And after that, he retired. So now he's living home with his family. Raymond, or Emery, we used to call him Emery. he also went to school and went in the army also. And when he came back, he worked on the Patuxent Navy Air Station until he taken sick and he couldn't work no more, so he retired. He retired and stayed home until his death.
And what about your sister Eunice?
Well, Eunice, after she graduated, she went to Washington to work. And she stayed there. And she met her husband there, and they got married. And started raising a family. How many children does she have? 6? I think she's got and had 6 children. And after family stopped growing, she came back to live in St. Mary's. She and her husband. And he retired, and they live in Hollywood, Maryland, till her death.
Now, you had an older brother?
Jesse, he died early at an early stage.